Was looking for when that next shot will come. Oh, Crest Serrano moves in, swung it back to Marsico, fires, scores! It's over! Penn State to the Frozen Four for the first time ever!
And there you go, Pierre McGuire. Easily the biggest moment, and not just Penn State college hockey history. Would you say Pennsylvania as well, or am I missing something?
For college hockey?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. What Guy Gadowski has done there with his Nittany Lions is phenomenal. I'm so proud of him. I had the honor of working with Guy when he was a young player coming out of Colorado College, and he was calling Prince Edward Island home at the time. That would be back in the 1990s. To see where he's taken his career as a coach is phenomenal. And he's built a Goliath, a tremendous program there in State College, Pennsylvania. I'm so happy for him.
And so they beat UConn there to advance to the Frozen Four. They will play Boston University on Thursday, and he is kind enough to join us here now on a special edition of On Campus Friday. It's going to actually, when it airs, be On Campus Wednesday, Pierre. So we can get it in before the Frozen Four. But Guy Gadowski joined us here on the eye test. As Coach, how are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
We're great. And I hear you're an old friend of Mr. McGuire here.
Known him for a long time. Yeah.
A long time. I had hair when I first knew Coach.
I'm not sure.
Coach, as we came in with the DiMarsico goal there off the top, take us back to that game, the environment, the build-up, and then the way your team was able to deliver in the clutch.
Sure. Well, the environment was unbelievable. The Penn Staters came out in great force, and they were awesome. We are very fortunate. We have like the best atmosphere in college hockey for sure, with the best student section, and most of them travel downtown. So we had a great home ice advantage. They were rocking. So the atmosphere was tremendous. And then when the goal went in, I mean, it really culminated a lot of work from Terry Pegula, obviously. Pierre, very familiar with what he's doing and how important he is to Penn State and to hockey in Pennsylvania, and all the administration that worked so hard to get this going. And specifically for me, all the players that took a leap of faith and came to Penn State, even though everybody told them they're going to get killed for so long.
You know what's amazing about you? You were a dogged, determined player when you played. You weren't the fastest guy. You weren't the strongest guy. You weren't the biggest guy. You were just the most determined guy. You were. You always were that. And I compliment you on that. And what I want to know is your vision for building this program at Penn State, because people did say you go there and you're doomed. Nothing good's going to happen there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And really, to build the program was just following the vision of, number one, Mr. Pegula. I mean, he really believes, obviously, in Penn State, unbelievable university. He also wanted his vision to be not just for Division I hockey at Penn State, but to really enhance the profile of hockey in the state and in our footprint. And I think that's exactly what happened. And when you talk about just building the program, it was really following along the Penn State culture. I mean, this student body is so good. They're hardworking. They take ownership in everything they do. They don't just want to show up and be entertained. Thon, for example, it's a 46-hour dance marathon that's run entirely by students that raised well over $100 million now for pediatric cancer. I mean, they do things like that. Like, they're an amazing student body, an amazing culture, and really we're just trying to fit in with them.
Hey, Jimmy, before you go, I just want to build off of that question I asked the coach. 7 of your players, Coach, are Pittsburgh. They're Western Pennsylvania guys.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I coached in Pittsburgh, but with the NHL team, not the amateur guys. When did Pittsburgh become such a hockey hotbed?
You know what? Well, the Penguins obviously have a lot to do with that. And even Joe Battista, who had a lot to do with starting the Penn State program, also started the youth hockey program with which is now Penn's Elite. And they've been so good. They have great people there. They have great facilities. And obviously, you know, from coaching there, Pittsburgh people love their hockey.
Yep.
And I think that it's just been growing and growing. And now where you have a great state university not far down the road, boy, it's a good motivation for those players to play college hockey at obviously the highest level.
Coach, you guys got off to a rough start in the Big Ten, 9 straight losses to start that part of your season. What was the key? Well, take us back to that point and what helped turn it around and get you guys to where you are now.
Yeah, 100%. Well, back to that point, I mean, a few things happened. One of our top recruits, in fact, the only 30-goal scorer we've had from the USHL, he right before the season was deemed that he'd be out for the year with a heart issue. So that happened. And then our number one goalie went down with a high ankle sprain, which took him out for a couple months. And actually, another Pennsylvania guy from Pittsburgh, John Seifarth, came in and saved our year. He's a guy that never played junior hockey. He just went to Penn State as a student, saw that there was club hockey and tried out. And then our guys got to know him. He's a really good athlete, but a super, super guy. And they said, hey, why don't you be our third goalie? He did. And then all of a sudden we find him starting games in the Big Ten. And he saved our season. But there was a time, where we were winless in 9 starts. Everybody left us for dead. And a very special guy. I think the entire leadership group took part in this, but Carson Dick led the way. Pierre, he's the son of Michael Dick, now coach Marley. Yeah. And he's just a guy that really understands leadership and is a special guy, a special leader. And he just refused to let anybody be negative, like just absolutely refused. Guys, keep going, stick together. And during that, our women's volleyball team happened to win the national title. And they were down, and in the semifinals, they were down 2-0 and down 22-16. The game goes up to 25. So everybody left them for dead. They came back, won that game, won the national championship, and our team was very intrigued at how they did it. So they did a little talking with the volleyball players. We got the coach, Katie, involved, and it happened that what Carson Dick was preaching to us, they were preaching, and we saw it work out in full time. So it was a very impactful lesson.
It's been an amazing year for you and for the Gadowsky family. Your son, Mac, is coming off the Hobie Baker nomination at West Point. Now he's in the portal. What's going to happen with my friend Mac?
I mean, you know what? West Point Army hockey was unbelievable and amazing to him, and he loves it. He loves his team. His coaches, as you know, Brian Riley, the best ever. Yeah. At the time, that commitment, they were able to turn pro without deferring service, and things changed a little bit with the government. I believe they're going to get that right back, and so it's going to be great for Army hockey and all cadet athletes. However, at the time, it was he wanted to follow his dream of playing pro hockey, so he's in the portal, and we'll see what happens with him.
Boy, oh boy, I wonder if he's going to end up at Penn State, Jimmy. I'm just curious if he ends up there. I don't know. I do know this. The coach has worked with his son before at the Brick Tournament in Edmonton, Alberta. So I know there's a sense of familiarity there, Jimmy.
Yep.
Well, we'll do a little homework maybe with your son Ryan to see what he's like before we make any moves here.
Just on that note, Coach, so you're getting to experience this not just as a coach but as a father too. What is your impression so far of the portal?
I mean, you know what? To me, I look at it this way: that they're not going to listen to me on it. I can't control it. It is what it is. And I had an AD at Princeton that would always tell me, "Hey, either play the game, change the game, or get a new game. We're going to play the game. So I don't have the power to change it. We have to deal with it. My impression is that our institution is going to do as much as we can to try benefit Penn State University."
Yep.
Jimmy, one of the reasons why I was so happy we got Coach on is because he can speak to this from so many different angles. He's an Alberta kid that went to Colorado College and eventually found his way into pro hockey. So, Coach, my question for you is the peer pressure you must have been under as a kid growing up in Alberta at the time to go play major junior, knowing that if you did that, you couldn't play college hockey. How was that to deal with?
You know what? For me, it wasn't too bad because at the time I was 130 pounds. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. I went to college. I weighed in at 136. So there weren't a lot of dub teams that were after me. In fact, I remember one game, I happened to run the goalie and it was a big bench brawl and all this stuff. And then the dub team started talking. You know what? My family is a family of teachers, and we've always really, really valued education. So for me, I think college was always where I wanted to go.
How much is this going to change the CHL and the NCAA and the new future? How much is going to change for you?
It sure is going to change, and it already has. What the impact is long term is still, remains to be seen. But certainly the game has changed. I think it's good. I think there's a lot of great, obviously, hockey players that went early to the CHL, but also would love the opportunity to play college hockey, and now they're allowed to do that. So certainly it changes. Where it shakes out, your guess is as good as mine.
How much of like we've talked before, and Pierre has suggested that it's so important now to have, like a pro team does, a hockey operations staff to deal with that, with the portal and that. How much is your staff helping right now as you're zeroed in on the big title?
Oh, no, it's essential. We have an awesome staff. In fact, our director of hockey ops is also, he is the most important guy on our staff. That's for sure. He's the smartest, number one. He's the most organized, and he wears the most hats. He also does an amazing job with analytics and video and everything else. And so the other coaches on the staff do a lot with the recruiting. But this is there's a lot of things behind, or other than just going out on the ice and running a practice, that have to do with college hockey recruiting. Is the lifeblood, and it takes a lot of work.
How much do you talk to Mr. Pegula on a monthly basis?
I wouldn't say monthly basis, but I can tell you that every time anything significant happens, he's one of the first to text and be very proud about it. He certainly is not a hands-on do this, do that at all. He is the best owner you could possibly imagine, but he certainly is well aware of our successes. That's for sure.
That's great.
Coach, I saw some of your players' interviews that I was telling you as we were coming on social media there. And I think one of the key threads that I saw all of them say in the common thread was embrace the moment, but stay focused because this is a business trip. Is that something you conveyed to them right after that win a couple of weeks ago?
You know what? It's something that we talked about earlier, and it's nice to hear the guys talk about a business trip because we've referenced that before, and really they've done a great job. As I mentioned, the leadership group, along with Carson Dick, Simon Mack, you could go down the line. They've been really good, and they're the ones that send the messages, and it's certainly a lot more impactful if it comes from the team rather than the coaches. And as you know, what happens when the coaches leave the locker room is a lot more important than what happens when they're in it. That is the message. I'm glad to hear them use that phrase. And, that was the message going to Allentown. So I think it's good to stick with that.
Coach, one of my favorites on your team is Charlie Serrato. I know his father pretty well. And his dad was an amazing recruiter at Notre Dame and had a huge career in the NFL. And I know the trials and tribulations of Charlie's recruitment because there were other schools involved. How did you finally get him to come to Happy Valley?
Well, you know what? He made that decision, and I think a part of it is his brother actually goes to Penn State and has he's a really smart kid, having a great experience. He's in engineering actually, and just loves the experience. And I think probably he had a little bit to do with it as well. But I think Charlie maybe they researched how we play. And he, that's one of the things that he referenced. He was like, I like how they play. Like, I like it. And Charlie, so how incredibly, incredibly competitive that he is. That I think is a big part of his success. And it's a big part of what he's done for us. Like he fits right in with our guys, and he's been fantastic.
Jimmy, this young man's been a huge impact player for Penn State. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the other schools, but there were a whack of big schools that wanted Charlie, and then eventually Charlie found his way to play for Coach. And I think it's a perfect marriage myself. And I talked to his father about this a long time ago, and it's so great that he ended up in a perfect place for him. It really is.
I think it is. And you know what, Pierre, like the guys that we have in our locker room, our guys are just really competitive, tough kids. Like that's how they are. That's the guys we got. And so Charlie is right at home with that. Like, he is right at home. So he's fit in so well in the locker room, not only on the ice, obviously he's been fantastic, but he's really enhanced our identity.
Coach, I was reading up, just on all the teams and heading into this Frozen Four right now, and you guys will be playing BU. Their coach, Jay Pandolfo, said one of the things he's noticed is how strong your transition game is right now. What have you seen from video that you've watched on BU that you're making your players aware of right now?
Well, obviously, every team that's in the Frozen Four right now is very, very good. They're very well coached, and they're hot. Everyone. That's the way it goes. They're not going to cut it. I think BU has a little bit different in Hudson. He's a special player. I mean, Denver could probably say the same thing with Zeev, but Hudson's a very special player. So what we've seen of them is a team that's obviously extremely skilled. They go, and he's a special player. You have to be aware of it. We're certainly going to focus on what we do well. That's how we've focused. That's how we've approached this entire year. However, he's a special player, and I'm sure our guys are going to be very well aware when he's on the ice.
You better be aware of Cole Eiserman standing on the top of the right circle with the one-timer on the
Yeah,
power
he shoots it okay, doesn't he?
He shoots it pretty good, Coach. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I heard that.
You would have been good penalty killing against him because I know you would have dove face first in front of those shots. But he's it's amazing at BU. They go from a kid named Macklin Celebrini who played there to a kid named Cole Eiserman that plays there. It's like it never falls backwards. And they go from Lane Hudson putting it on a tee for Macklin to Cole Hudson putting it on a tee for Cole Eiserman. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more happy for you, Coach. Again, we've known each other. Just for the viewers out there, I've known Coach for a long time. And you gave your heart and soul to the game. Like, you owe the game nothing. The game owes you. You've done a lot to help a lot of kids. My question for you is, when you left Princeton to go to Penn State, how different was it for you as a coach? You got an Ivy League school, you got a scholarship school, you got Big Ten versus ECAC. How big an adjustment was it for you, Coach?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's kind of you to say, but I really look at it like I'm very grateful and blessed to be in the game. Really, for me. To be in the game in any capacity, to me, is a win, and I feel very blessed to do that wherever I am. However, both Princeton, and Penn State are very special places. The support they got in different areas was tremendous. And the thing about Penn State is you hear this the term, you have the best of both worlds. I think Penn State is actually the epitome of it. It is an amazing university academically on its own. Does have the most powerful college network in the world. So the network that it has is unmatched. And the support that it gets is unmatched, not only from obviously the alumni and the atmosphere that we have in Pagula Ice Arena, but from the athletic department for not only hockey players, but all of our athletes. It's unreal how many resources and the priorities that they have for the good of the student athlete. The development of the student athlete is just in a whole nother level. So I feel really fortunate, again, blessed to be a part of this. It's been fun. I've learned a ton about supporting athletes. It's been great.
Will there be any whiteouts in any sections of the Enterprise Center next week?
You know what? It's a good question. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you couldn't believe it. When we went to Allentown and the team took the ice for the first time and looked up, it was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, the entire student section came and was rocking that place. It was incredible.
That's awesome.
Jimmy, I got to ask the coaches. So let's just say you're bringing a recruit, I don't know, from the Western Hockey League, and it's a football Saturday night in Happy Valley. Does that player find his way to the sidelines to experience that?
Yeah, we can do that. It's interesting when recruits come in. It's tough with hockey because they play on the weekends. Like and now, junior hockey coaches get fired too, so they don't let the guys go like they did before, right? Now it's a little harder to get them on campus when you want, but when we're able to get these guys here, whether it's an unbelievable football game or you ever see a wrestling match at Penn State, it'll blow your mind. Same with when you go to a volleyball match at Penn State, it'll blow your mind. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So in the campus itself, it's a lot of fun. Like the guys that come here, they get to set foot on campus. They love it.
Well, awesome. I'm thrilled to death for you. I can't wait to watch your team play this weekend. There's so many great guys that I cheer for in the game. I've been cheering for you for a long time, as you know, and you've deserved everything you've gotten because you've earned it. You've worked your way to get to that spot. And here, I want you to tell Jimmy, what was it like to be on the ice to watch Donald Brashear fight Darcy Simon?
I was just glad, you know what, Davey had to have me shadow him because at the American League level, he was a scorer. So I was just glad Darcy took him on and I didn't have to go do it.
Jimmy,
that was the best part of it.
Jimmy, I think we played Freddie beats him one year 18 times, somewhere in there, right, Coach? 16, 18 times. I think Darcy and Brashear probably fought, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 times.
Yeah, Darcy's such a tough kid. We'll
Tough
talk about
kid,
great
really
leadership.
tough kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tough. That was old-time hockey, Pierre. That was a different deal.
That was old-time hockey, Coach. That was old-time.
Well, Coach, listen, we wish you the best of luck out there. Enjoy the trip, enjoy the moment, and good luck bringing home a title.
Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Way to go, Coach. Thank
right.
you.
Head coach Guy Gadowski joined us here on a special edition of On Campus Friday on the eye test. Pierre, that's awesome. He's done an amazing job there, and it's great to see him rewarded.
Like, he wasn't going to play in the NHL. He was going to play, though, and he did. He gave his heart and soul to the team that I was part of. And the only reason I got to work with him that year was because it was a lockout year. Mm-hmm. And so I went down there for 6 months. I lived in Prince Edward Island at the Princess Charlotte Hotel, I think it was called at the time. And he was one of the guys. Lance Pitlick and Guy Gadowski were two of the guys that I said, man, oh man, these guys just care so much about hockey. And he was a really smart hockey man back then as a player. Mm-hmm. And now you can see why he's been so successful as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for him.
And I love too. I mean, it seems like when they, first started this back up again in 2012, 13, he's coming to a big, like you've told me off air, a big football school, a big basketball school. That's what they're known for. But from everything, it sounds like the school embraced them well. They incorporated themselves into that culture well. And now, as he told us with that was a great story about the volleyball team, helping them turn their season around. They're just one big happy family. It's great.
Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. That's really good the way you said that. The other thing, too, is Mr. Pegula, Terry Pegula. Mm-hmm. They've given a lot as a family back to Penn State, but in particular the hockey program, and that's going to help them long term, obviously.
For sure, it's great stuff. All right, Pierre. So before we close it out here, I wanted, and we don't script this, but I'm going to throw it at you. I want you to give me a pro and con of each team. You don't have to pick the games, but just as we've done before in some other college games, just quick hit, pro and con of each team. Let's start with Penn State.
Not a big name team, but they're going to push people around. They're going to be hard to play. They're going to cycle well. They're going to be physical. If they can do that kind of stuff without taking penalties, they got a chance to be very competitive in St. Louis.
All right, BU.
If they get on the power play a lot, I think they're going to eat up whomever they play. So you got to play 5-on-5 against them, and you have to do a real good job controlling face-off play against them. If you don't control face-off play against them, it's too easy a game for BU to dominate.
Western Michigan.
They're just 4-line attack. They're really good transitioning the puck. They're probably the most mature team there. So I think the biggest thing, if you play them, you got to make sure you get a lead. If you don't get a lead against them, it's hard. And I talked to Coach Carville about it. They lost to Western Michigan.
Yeah.
Really tight, but you got to get a lead against them. If you don't, it's a real tough team to beat.
All right. And the defending champion, DU.
Well, they got everything. I mean, I've watched them play a ton live. I've watched them a ton on TV. They're obviously coming off a huge win, beating the number 1 seed, BC. Zev Buium is really that good. Once this is over, he's going to the NHL. He's going to be in Minnesota. He really is that good, Jimmy. So you got to control him. You got to be really aware of Polkamp defensively, big portal defenseman that came over. He's been outstanding for them. They're excellent on faceoffs. You gotta really pay attention to faceoff play when you play them. And to me, the one thing is, you're not going to score on a lot of initial chances against their goaltender. You got to create a ton of second chance opportunities. And if you don't, you're probably not going to beat them.
All right. And then the final question, Pierre, obviously it's the NCAA free agencies. And man, have we seen a lot of signings lately, Pierre? Are there some guys on the teams right now that are still in it, that are in this Frozen Four, that our listeners and viewers should be aware of?
Oh, there's a lot. Not so much in terms of free agents, but drafted. I just talked about Zev Buium. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen is Washington going to pull Cole Hudson out after his freshman year? I don't know. Are the Islanders going to pull Cole Iserman out after this year? I don't know. Does Chicago take Ryan Green out? I don't know. I mean, there's just so many different ways you can go with this whole thing. So I don't really want to say a lot of names, but what I will say is there are not a lot of jobs available now, but there'll be some guys leaving school, I would imagine.
Just quickly in that too, Pierre, we touched on it a bit last week when we were in Montreal, but you say there's not a lot of jobs available now. And I've had a lot of friends ask me, why? I thought this kid was better. Why is he ended up in the ECHL? Let's go over that a bit so people understand. It's not that these players aren't good. It's just that there's no room anywhere.
Right now, there's no room, and that's a big problem for a lot of kids that are coming out early. So they're going down. And all that's doing is enhancing the caliber of play, whether it's in the American League or in the East Coast League. I defy anybody to watch an East Coast League game and just pretend you don't think it's East Coast. Just say it's a pro hockey game. Watch that, and then watch an American League game and tell me which one is which, because you really can't.
Wow.
And that's kind of where it is right now. There's so many good. I watched Ian Shane play, who is a player of the year at Cornell. I watched him play goal for Norfolk Admirals for the last 3 nights. And he was stupendous. He wasn't a little bit good. He was really good.
That's awesome.
And so, that's just one example. And there are a lot more than that, both at the American League level and the East Coast League level. So that's the biggest thing right now. There are not a lot of jobs available in a lot of these leagues because so many guys are leaving early.
All right, perfect. Well, listen, before we go, remind everyone, the Frozen Four does begin tomorrow. You're listening to this on Wednesday, so it begins Thursday. In St. Louis, first game, 5 p.m. Eastern, Denver in Weston, Michigan. And then Penn State faces BU at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Both games in the States are on ESPN2, so tune in for that. It's going to be great. I know Pierre doesn't like making picks. I'll give you my hunch. I'm going to say I think the Penn State Cinderella ride continues. I think, and I don't mean that as an insult to call it a Cinderella ride, but they came out of nowhere for a lot of people. I think they head to the final and they face Denver, and we'll see what happens from there. But Pierre, great stuff. Great stuff here, man. I'm glad we were able to connect with Coach Gadowsky. I know you had the connection with him, so it's great to have him on there. Thanks to Shane for working the boards back in Montreal, and to all you, the viewers and listeners, we appreciate your support. We will talk to you next time here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.